Chapter 542. Wherever his slender and well-defined fingertips touched, there seemed to be traces of electric current, spreading an inexplicable itch. Xiangyi instinctively swallowed her saliva. The man's handsome face was right in front of her. His peach blossom eyes were deep and affectionate as he stared at her without blinking. You should put on your clothes properly. Boys should look like boys. Sister E, don't you like it? Huh? The distance between the two of them was so close that they could hear each other's breathing clearly. The girl's slender neck was stained with a thin layer of crimson. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's hum. I like it. Not only did she like to look, but she also wanted to poke it. Shi Sui smiled and led the girl's hand to his lower abdomen. How about now? Are you happy? Xiangyi. The girl's neck and ears were completely red. She looked like a deep-fried spicy crayfish that had just been fished out of a hot pan. His 8-pack abs were well-defined, and his Apollo's belt was smooth and snaking to the side of his pants. Apart from his body temperature, she could even feel the explosive power contained in his muscles. Her fair fingers trembled slightly. Xiangyi curled her fingertips and said softly, I'm happy. Then I'll tell Sister E a secret too. Shi Sui moved closer to Xiangyi's ear. His hot breath sprayed on the girl's neck. In my heart, there's also a dark villain. It's unbearable, despicable, and dirty. It has long been premeditated against you. It's scheming against you. It's scheming against you. It's scheming against you. Xiangyi listened quietly. This was the first time Shi Sui had analyzed his own heart to someone. He looked at the girl's clean and clear doe eyes. His voice was hoarse. Sister E, I don't seem to be worthy of your love. Before he could finish his words, the girl interrupted him. I know. Huh? Xiangyi looked straight at him and repeated, I know. I know everything. It wasn't that she didn't know anything. She just chose not to understand. Shi Sui, I have a lot of flaws too. Just like you, we're not perfect people, but it doesn't matter. She broke into a gentle and radiant smile. Let's become better together, okay? At this moment, the thousands upon thousands of mountains scattered, leaving only the young girl's figure in his eyes. Shi Sui's Adam's apple moved. He had thought of countless answers, but he had never thought that Xiangyi's response would be this. You don't mind me scheming against you? Xiangyi blinked her eyes. I think that you're really cute when you play tricks. Actually... She was a little embarrassed as her cheeks heated up. Actually, I'm also worried that I'm not good enough. I'm worried that I won't have a place in your heart. That's why I'll always put on my best face in front of you. Actually, I'm not that good. Her little hand was held tightly. Shi Sui, you're good. Xiangyi, nice to meet you too. The two of them looked at each other and burst into laughter. Can you put on your clothes now? Xiangyi cleared her throat. Do you think that I don't know that you didn't put on your clothes on purpose? Shi Sui chuckled. You even found out. The girl looked around and saw that there was no one around. She tiptoed and whispered into his ear. You're indeed a famous abdominal muscle. The netizens didn't lie to me. After saying that, the girl's whole body was burning up. She ran out in her slippers. Shi Sui stood there with a smile in his eyes. The dark little person in his heart finally welcomed a gentle glimmer of light that wanted to dash forward regardless of her own safety. Chapter 543. The brothers of the Xiang family had mixed feelings when they saw little Bunny running out of the living room with a flushed face. Their little Bunny was being chased by a dog just like that. Who would be happy about that? Not long after, Shi Sui came out in a fresh set of clothes. He was wearing a simple white shirt that looked clean and fresh. As a basic hospitality, Xiangyi and he went to the door to welcome Director Zheng. Just as the two arrived at the door, Director Zheng's car happened to be there. Director Zheng had an average figure and was slightly plump. He had a good attitude and liked to wear sportswear, so he looked much younger than his actual age. However, there was someone else who got out of the car with Director Zheng. It was Zhuyi. The man was wearing a sweat-absorbing fitness suit that accentuated his firm muscles. His wheat-colored skin looked healthy and sunny, and his handsome features gave off a chivalrous vibe. The moment she saw him, Xiang Yi's brows furrowed. The audience, on the other hand, was excited. What the F***CK, what did I just see? Friends, please share your shock on the public chat. Amazing! They actually managed to invite Best Actor Joie to their show? Wow, Best Actor Joie is still as handsome as he used to be. He's so handsome. Seeing that Joie had actually come, Li Jianyu was extremely disgusted. Joie also had a live-stream variety show, which was a parody of Muyao TV's Two Under One Roof. Although it wasn't as popular as Two Under One Roof, the combination of live-stream variety shows and food elements made it very popular. Those who didn't know better would probably think that it was a joint venture between the two variety shows. Director Zhang was an introverted person. Although he had a good relationship with Shi Sui, he didn't talk much. Besides, it was his first time participating in a live stream and he was a little nervous. After a simple greeting, he remained silent. Joie came uninvited, but he didn't feel awkward at all. Instead, he enthusiastically chatted with him. Xiao Sui, long time no see. You've become even more handsome recently. Hey, you must be Sister E. You're so cute, you look like a doll. Shi Sui nodded slightly in response. Xiangyi became even colder and didn't say a word. At first glance, their attitude was too impolite, and some netizens immediately denounced them. Is this the attitude of a guest? Please, Best Actor Joie is a senior. Don't you know any etiquette? Shi Yingdi is at least on the same level as Joie Yingdi. It's fine if he's aloof, but what right does Xiangyi have? Other than variety shows, what other representative works did she have that made her treat Best Actor Joie with such an attitude? This is unforgivable. Along the way from the entrance of the manor, the atmosphere was unusually awkward. Although Joie was a silly uncle, he had gained a lot of fans over the past 2 years. Many of Joie's fans were furious when they saw that Xiangyi and Shi Sui did not respond to him despite his efforts to liven up the atmosphere. Don't the Vase Fairy and Shi Sui know that there's a Chinese phrase called, feel at home? Even through the screen, I feel embarrassed for Best Actor Joie. He tried so hard to tell jokes, but no one paid any attention to him. I've seen people act like big shots, but I've never seen anyone act like that in front of their seniors. Shi Sui, Xiangyi, you're awesome. I won't explain myself for life. When they finally arrived at the courtyard, Joie volunteered to chop some firewood. After that, he even cleaned up the yard. His diligent actions had won him a lot of favor. Xiangyi, however, pretended that he didn't exist. She leisurely brewed a pot of tea for Director Zhang and even prepared some exquisite desserts. In contrast, more netizens began to criticize them. Chapter 544. Even the fans of Spicy Tutu couldn't understand. Xiangyi treated everyone else politely, but why did she treat Joie with such an attitude? Someone among the fans of the untimely CP stood up and made a bold guess. When Joie worked with Shi Sui, he pretended to be serious and deliberately broke Shi Sui's ribs. Could Sister E be using this method to express her displeasure? As soon as this statement was made, Shi Sui's sisters mocked him. If she's rude, so be it. Why bother washing? Please don't ride on Shi Sui's coattails. Humph. The Vase Fairy must have a low EQ. How could she be doing this for Shi Sui? In the manner. Xiangyi's movements of brewing tea were smooth and elegant. It was pleasing to the eye and had a classical and elegant beauty to it. The tea was clear and fragrant. Director Zhang was someone who knew about tea. After tasting it, he couldn't help but praise, "Good tea. I'm glad you like it. Miss Xiang, are you very knowledgeable about tea?" Director Zhang asked with interest. "I don't know much, just a little." "Miss Xiang, you're being too modest." Director Zhang sighed and said, "The drama I'm currently filming happens to have a plot about tea. Miss Xiang, would you be interested in making a cameo appearance? It was supposed to be a normal conversation between the two of them. However, the speaker did not mean it, but the listener did. The listener misinterpreted their conversation. Did you hear that? Director Wang said that Xiangyi is good at making tea. She's a green tea B*TCH to begin with. This kind of role suits her very well. Does the vase fairy still need to act? Isn't she just acting as herself? Ha 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 ha. While there was a heated argument in the comments, in reality, Zhuyi went up to Shi Sui, who was trimming the flowers. Shi Sui, how have you been lately? Zhuyi asked, acting like a senior who was concerned about his junior. Shi Sui said indifferently, thanks to you, I'm doing all right. He obviously didn't intend to continue the topic, but Zhuyi continued, I'm so envious of you young people. You have so many shows to film, unlike me. I'm getting on in years and there are too few suitable scripts. His words were filled with envy, as well as the sadness of a hero past his prime. Shi Sui glanced at him. Senior, have you ever considered changing your profession? All these years, Zhuyi had been walking the path of a kung fu star. The dramas he filmed were mostly martial arts or action movies. Zhuyi laughed heartily and said, after all, I have a martial arts dream in my heart. If I don't do it, who in this circle will persist? These words were said with great skill and aroused the sympathy of many people. I really miss the glorious era of martial arts movies. When I was young, the thing I wanted to be the most was a chivalrous hero, riding a horse to the ends of the world with a sword. Fortunately, there are fewer and fewer wuxia movies nowadays. It's not easy for Best Actor Zhuo. I feel like there's a Buddha nature in him. It's the kind of sacrificial spirit that says if I don't go to hell, who will? Comparing the two, it's obvious who's better. Shi Sui has acted in many commercial films, right? He had no feelings for her at all. Unlike Best Actor Zhuo, who still stuck to his original intentions. Shi Sui only cares about money. Just as everyone was discussing intensely, a straightforward and doubtful voice entered everyone's ears. Bro, isn't the reason why you only act in wuxia movies because your acting skills are terrible? Everyone was speechless. Who is it? Does he still want to stay in the industry? How could he say something like that? The camera shook and changed before finally landing on a domineering CEO who was not at all domineering. Chapter 545. The audience in front of the screen had blank looks on their faces. Who is this person? The cameraman was also a little dumbfounded and didn't move his camera for a long time. The netizens began to discuss. His words are too hurtful. How uneducated, do you know how to chat? To be honest, he's quite good looking, but I don't know why his temperament is a little silly. Zhuyi's expression changed when he saw the person's face clearly. If it were anyone else, he would definitely not swallow his anger given his status in the entertainment industry. However, in front of the real big shot, Zhuyi was very flexible. He smiled and said, Mr. Xiang, you must be joking. I'm an unorthodox actor, I can't compare to those who have been trained in acting. He seemed to be humble, but he was actually trying to send a message. As an actor who had not been trained in acting, he had already achieved a lot. She didn't expect Xiang Feng to question her. Joking? You've misunderstood. I'm seriously dissing you. Zhuyi was speechless. That feeling was even worse than eating a fly. The audience in the live stream was about to burst out in anger when someone copied a paragraph from the encyclopedia. Xiang Feng, the current CEO of Xingchen Group, has subsidiaries such as Xingchen Entertainment, Xingchen Video, Xingchen Livestream, and Xingchen Literature website. He graduated from Haslington University with a degree in business studies. The netizens were dumbfounded. This person is the most domineering CEO of all domineering CEOs. All of a sudden, the pop-up comments changed. So he's a sugar daddy. Mr. Xiang, you're really sharp with your words. Mr. Xiang is so refreshing and unpretentious, completely different from those big CEOs out there. No wonder Zhuyi was so polite even after being dissed. This is a real big shot. Ever since he started doing business, he's been especially lucky. He has repeatedly created business miracles. For example, Xing Chen livestream started by acquiring a bankrupt company, but the next year, it turned a loss into a profit. Don't underestimate him. The comment section was full of praise for Xiang Feng. Even when he dissed Zhua Yi, everyone felt that he was sincere and straightforward. Seeing him, Xiang Yi's eyes lit up. She made a cup of honey grapefruit water and brought it to her uncle. Xiang Feng was addicted to sweetness and gulped down a large mouthful, ignoring Zhua Yi beside him. Not bad. It's sweet and delicious. If you like it, you can bring a bottle with you when you leave. I even made some passion fruit lemons. The conversation between the two was very casual, but when the netizens heard it, they couldn't help but feel jealous. SSK, she doesn't care about Best Actor Zhua, but she's sucking up to her sugar daddy like this. Are you worthy? The vase fairy is really poisonous. She didn't even pour a drop of saliva for Zhua Yingdi. He's a guest after all. Is this how you treat him? She's so snobbish. I can't stand Xiangyi anymore. I really don't understand why so many people like a girl like her. Is there something wrong with me, or is there something wrong with society? Just as the netizens were getting excited, they heard Zhua Yi forcefully interject and awkwardly say, Sister Yi and Mr. Xiang both have the same surname. Going back a few generations, their ancestors must be from the same family. Xiang Feng, who had the lowest IQ in the family, suddenly felt a sense of superiority. He looked at Zhua Yi like he was looking at a fool. What are you counting for? The two of us are family. I'm Xiangyi's uncle. Her biological uncle. In an instant, the netizens who had just finished being keyboard warriors were dumbfounded. Chapter 546. What the hell? The sugar daddy that countless people dream of is actually Xiangyi's uncle. Then what's the point of hating? F***ck. Zhua Yi was even more dumbfounded. He was completely dumbfounded, feeling like he had flattered the wrong person. However, after realizing that Xiangyi was the real deal, a glint flashed across Zhua Yi's eyes. The charm of an uncle was not something a little girl could resist. Although he was already married, he could still play with this little girl. When the time came, wouldn't he have both beauty and resources? Zhua Yi's mind was full of wishful thinking when he inadvertently met Shi Sui's gaze and his heart skipped a beat. The man's gaze was deep and ruthless, revealing an inexplicable ruthlessness. She was clearly his junior, but Zhua Yi couldn't help but shudder. Subconsciously, he avoided Shi Sui's gaze. Ha ha ha, so you two are relatives, no wonder you look so similar. Zhua Yi was the typical type of person who would let others feel awkward as long as he didn't feel awkward. He even kept calling her Sister Yi. I heard that Sister Yi is preparing to act in a drama. Do you need me to tell you some things you need to take note of? It's all based on our experience. Xiangyi said coldly, thank you, but no need. Zhua Yi laughed dryly. Ha ha ha, Sister Yi really has a personality. In the live stream, smoke rose again. What's wrong with Xiangyi? How can she talk to her senior like that? I'm speechless. Movie King Zhua was kind enough to impart his experience to you. Not only did you not accept it humbly, you even rejected it. I just fell into the trap today. Is this the gentle Xiangyi you guys boast about? Her EQ is obviously low. I can't watch anymore, I'm going to turn off the live stream. The next second, Xiang Feng unceremoniously retorted, does our Xiangyi need you to teach her? Are you worthy? This extremely dramatic scene directly pushed the development of the plot to the climax. Many viewers who like to watch a good show watched with relish while munching on melon seeds. Fight, 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 hurry up and fight. Xiangyi's coldness didn't matter, but Xiang Feng's rebuttal made Zhua Yi break out in a cold sweat. What did he do wrong? Would he offend the president of Star Group? President Xiang, yes, 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 I'm not worthy. Zhua Yi's tone was humble and he wanted to slip away. I saw a water tank in the small kitchen. I'll go get some water. There was tap water in the manor, as well as a well he had dug himself. It tasted fresh and slightly sweet. Joie Yi put his arm around Shi Sui's shoulder as he walked. They looked like brothers. Little Sui, let's go together. Let's try to fill them up as soon as possible. Shua, his arm was grabbed by a fair hand, and he was suspended in the air. Joie Yi stared at Xiong Yi in astonishment. The girl was expressionless. Don't touch him. Joie Yi chuckled and said, Sister Yi, are you misunderstanding something? My relationship with him is very good. Right, little Sui? He thought that Shi Sui would more or less give him some face, but to his surprise, Xiong Yi interrupted him and turned to look at Shi Sui. Is your relationship really good? After a pause, the girl said in a childish tone, I'm here. You can tell the truth. Shi Sui stared at her quietly. After a few seconds, she suddenly chuckled. No. Little Sui, you. Joie Yi's eyes widened like copper bells. Did you hear that? Xiong Yi's tone was cold. Stay away from Shi Sui. You don't deserve to appear in front of him. No one cares about him. I do. Chapter 547. The wind seemed to have stopped. It was as if someone had pressed the pause button, and there was silence all around. Joie Yi's expression changed again and again. He wanted to hold it in, but in the end, he couldn't calm down. Although eating well for all 3 meals wasn't bad, it still couldn't compete with 2 under one roof. The gap between the 2 variety shows was getting wider and wider. 2 under one roof was already faintly showing signs of exploding, while eating well for all 3 meals was gradually going downhill. Joie Yi couldn't figure out why there was such a huge gap in popularity between the 2 shows, which were both about delicious food and public displays of affection. He used all his means and specially came over to see what was going on. However, he didn't expect them to not give him any face at all. Joie Yi was afraid that the past would be brought up again, so he took the initiative and said angrily, Sister Yi, you've gone too far with your words. Fine, since I'm not welcome here, I'll leave. His acting skills weren't weak, and he got into character within minutes. He strode away and said to Li Jianyu, I came to support your show, but you're treating me like this. Why should I take this lying down? The atmosphere was a little stagnant. Some empathetic netizens were influenced by Joie Yi's words and were put in his shoes. I'm so angry, how can they say that about Teacher Joie? What did Best Actor Joie do wrong? Why are they treating him like this? Shi Sui and Xiong Yi are really from the same family. Both of them are so outrageous. Joie Yi's acting was smooth, which could be considered the pinnacle of his acting career. That was if he hadn't met the Terminator of acting, Xiong Fengfeng. Unfortunately, he had met him this time. Xiong Fengfeng questioned, Well, no one invited you here, right? Didn't you come here yourself? As one of the sponsors of 2 Under One Roof, Xiong Fengfeng had gone through the guest list before. He remembered clearly that Joie Yi wasn't on it. Joie Yi stopped in his tracks. The netizens in front of the screen were dumbfounded. What? Joie Yi wasn't invited? So Joie Yi came uninvited today. Xiong Feng shook his legs, completely lacking the aura of a domineering CEO. Also, if I say you're fat, why are you panting? Who are you acting for? Don't you know why our Yi is so mean to you? Joie Yi suddenly had a bad premonition. When we were filming, you thought you were a senior and Shi Sui was a newbie. You acted for real and even broke Shi Sui's ribs. Do you really think the internet doesn't remember? Xiong Feng didn't give Joie Yi any face. Before you question how others treat you, why don't you reflect on how you treat others? Did your brain run away from home and go to Antarctica to feed the penguins? Xiong Feng spoke quickly, like a machine gun, but it contained a huge amount of information. The netizens were stunned. So there was such a thing. The Shi Sui sisters chimed in one after another. That's right. It's true. It even made the headlines back then, but Shi Sui wasn't popular at the time, so the matter was left unsettled. Zhua Yi's interview back then didn't hurt him at all. He even said that it was natural for a senior to hit a junior. The video of Stinky's Guide to the Stars can be found. Zhua Yi's body swayed a little. He didn't expect that not only would he fail to gain some popularity, he would even get himself implicated. Chapter 548. Not to mention the passers-by, even Shi Sui's sister didn't know all about what happened back then. Now that the truth was exposed, the netizens were shocked and furious. Zhua Yi was such a scumbag that he broke someone's bones while filming. He was obviously bullying them on purpose. Shi Sui was now on fire. If he wasn't, would he have no choice but to swallow his anger? No, other than Shi Sui, could there be other victims? Some netizens who were more active had already started digging deeper into the matter. In reality, Zhua Yi wished he could dig a hole and bury himself in it. He didn't know whether to leave or stay, so he was tormented on the spot. Xiangyi suddenly said, "I'll walk you out." The cameraman wanted to follow, but Xiangyi gestured for him to stop. Although he didn't understand her intention, the cameraman still stopped. Shi Sui frowned and wanted to follow, but was stopped by Xiangyi. "Be good, I'll be back soon." The man was silent for 2 seconds and nodded slightly. Xiangyi gestured, "Mr. Zhua, please." Zhua Yi couldn't figure out what Xiangyi was thinking, but he was afraid of Shi Sui and Xiang Feng, so he could only nod stiffly. They walked to the gate in silence. Xiangyi stopped and looked at Zhua Yi. The girl's eyes were clear and her facial features were exquisite. When she looked at Zhua Yi, his heartbeat became erratic. Zhua Yi looked at Xiang Yi affectionately. He thought that he had the charm of a middle-aged man and had charmed many young girls. "Xiang Yi, do you have something to tell me?" "Yes." Hearing this, Zhua Yi's smile became even brighter. He ran his hand through his hair and said, "Go ahead, I'm listening." A question mark slowly appeared above Xiang Yi's head. She couldn't understand what the man in front of her was thinking. He was so ordinary, but why was he so confident? "Our Shi Sui is generous and kind. He has a soft and delicate heart." Zhua Yi was confused. Shi Sui, soft, and delicate. Can these words be used together? "He doesn't hold grudges, but I'm a very petty person. I can't bear to see him suffer." Zhua Yi. Xiangyi calmly tied up her hair and rolled up her sleeves. "That's why I'm prepared to stand up for him." When Zhua Yi heard this, he found it rather funny. "Little girl, so you really do like Shi Sui. But, did I forget to tell you that I'm a martial arts star?" The martial arts stars of their generation all knew real kung fu. Otherwise, he would not have been able to break Shi Sui's bones so easily. He had already made up his mind. The moment this young lady made a move, he would turn around to subdue her and force a kiss on her. There was no guarantee that this young lady would not fall for him. With his martial arts, it would be easy for him to deal with a little girl who was still wet behind the ears. Gotcha. Ah. The crisp sound of dislocation was accompanied by a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. Xiangyi's move was too fast. Zhua Yi did not even have time to react before his arm was dislocated. "I forgot to tell you that I'm quite good at fighting." Xiangyi did not waste time talking nonsense. She exerted force with her small hands and accurately repositioned Zhua Yi's dislocated arm. "Oh!" The continuous screams shook away the birds that were perched on the branches. Zhua Yi was in so much pain that he broke out in a cold sweat. However, he heard something that made him tremble with fear. "I also forgot to tell you that I can not only fight, but also heal." The young lady looked at him and smiled gently and harmlessly. It turned out that the quarrels and bickering between family members, or even if they didn't say anything, just being in the same room with some reading books, some doing handicrafts, some busy with work, and some playing games was actually so warm and blissful. In the director's office, Li Jianyu suddenly realized something and frantically jotted down something on a notepad. Someone came to him to ask about work, but was persuaded to leave by Ruan Qing. The strong and bright woman, at this moment, chose to silently accompany Li Jianyu. When it was almost time for dinner, Shi Sui was about to cook. Xiangyi couldn't stand it anymore and said coquettishly, "Let me cook just once, just once." "Just once, okay?" Before Shi Sui could respond, voices of objection came from all over the room. "No." Chapter 550. Your hand is still injured, how can you cook? Don't even think about it, sit down obediently. Voices of rebuke came from all directions. Xiangyi clenched her fists and made a gesture to show off her muscles. "It's okay that I'm injured, I can really do it. I'm super strong." The netizens were flabbergasted. "Yi is so cute." "Sisters, I can do it again. Cuteness is justice awe." "Brothers, promise her, let our sister Yi touch the little spatula. Look at how greedy she is, she's addicted to cooking." Shi Sui was speechless. Xiang Feng was speechless. The Xiang brothers were speechless. At this moment, the few men's brain circuits that had never been synchronized actually connected to a common frequency. "Wife Yi, sister Yi, little bunny Tutu is so cute." "I'm a very principled person," Sangchen said calmly, and the others all stood up straight or sat down in unison, just like primary school students who were being lectured by the dean. "Tutu, do you really want to cook?" "Yes, yes." Xiang Yi nodded vigorously. Sangchen said, "Okay, let's cook together then." Everyone was speechless. "Huh? Is this what you mean by principled?" "Your principle is that you have no principles when it comes to Sister Yi." Xiangyi rubbed her hands expectantly. "Huh?" As it turned out, Xiangyi's expectations were too perfect. When Sangchen said to cook together, he meant that everyone would cook together while Xiangyi sat at the side and watched. "Fourth brother, let me wash the vegetables." "How can a girl do such chores?" "Third brother, let me peel the garlic." "I'm the best at it." "Little sister, sit properly." "Are you cold?" "I'll get you a blanket." "Sob sob sob, second brother, let me make the soup please." "Little bunny, be good. Can you cover the lid of the casserole later?" "Sob sob sob, big brother. I'll fry a meatball. Just a little." "Tutu, be good." Xiangyi wandered around but didn't get any work. Feeling aggrieved, she went to Shi Sui's side. Shi Sui smiled. "Your Highness, can you do me a favor?" The young girl's doe eyes brightened. Tell me. I can do anything." Shi Sui pointed at the switch of the natural gas and said gently, "Could you please turn it on for me?" Xiangyi ran over and turned on the switch. Shi Sui, "Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you for your hard work." The young girl turned her small face, and her eyebrows curved into the shape of a crescent moon. Xiang Feng, who was passing by, was confused. "What's this, Your Highness? Are you playing house? You're already so old, yet you're still playing such a childish game." Comments in the live stream. Someone, "Kill me to liven things up for Shi Sui's sister Yi. It's so sweet, so sweet. Shi Sui is really good at sweet talking. This is the right way to coax your wife." Sister Yi's smile is beautiful, but CEO Xiang is asking for a beating when he speaks. In the director's office. Li Jianyu finally stopped writing and drawing. He leaned against the wall with a huge grin on his face. "Have you found inspiration?" Ruan Qing asked. "That's right." Li Jianyu chuckled. "Sister Yi is my muse of inspiration. Next, I want to do a variety show between family members. Let's do it together?" Ruan Qing chuckled. "Haven't you been squeezed enough by me?" Li Jianyu coughed nervously. He rubbed his hands and whispered like a mosquito. "I'm willing to be squeezed by you." Chapter 551. The temperature in the room seemed to rise all of a sudden. After Li Jianyu finished speaking, he felt particularly embarrassed. He first fanned himself with his notebook, but it couldn't dispel the heat that arose from the bottom of his heart. He stood up and the chair creaked. Ahem, it's too hot. I'm going out to get some air. Whoosh! His wrist was suddenly grabbed. As far as his eyes could see, the woman's soft fingers and imperial red manicure were clean and beautiful. Do you want to try it? Let's do it together, Ruan Qing asked with a smile. The room was so quiet that the sound of Li Jianyu swallowing his saliva was particularly clear. The usually eloquent person was stuttering at this moment. I want to ask you mean together or maybe together with what I think together? Ruan Qing smiled. What else? Li Jianyu was speechless. He asked cautiously, then what should we name our child? Ruan Qing, ? Sorry, I'm such a blabbermouth. Blabbermouth. Li Jianyu, who had accidentally blurted out his thoughts, blushed. Then are we superior and subordinate or boyfriend and girlfriend? Ruan Qing's fingers moved from his wrist to his chin and gently slid across his protruding Adam's apple. There was light green stubble there that was slightly prickly. Of course we're superior and subordinate. Li Jianyu's eyes darkened. However, he heard Ruan Qing say unhurriedly, more like boyfriend and girlfriend. Li Jianyu. F*ck. I'm no longer single. F*ck. F*ck. At the dining table in the living room. After everyone's hard work, a large table of sumptuous lunch was ready. Although not everyone's cooking skills were good, the atmosphere of the family cooking 1 or 2 dishes and eating together in the end was really good. Of course, the men couldn't resist Xiangyi's coquettishness and finally let her make 2 simple cold dishes. The group gathered around the table, and the netizens in front of the screen had also ordered takeout or prepared home-cooked dishes. Originally, she thought that today would be the same as usual and could be treated as a mukbang, but unexpectedly, the atmosphere at the dining table became hostile. Xiang Qi was the first to take out his big bowl, which made countless people laugh. Everyone was laughing when they saw Xiang Yu take out a big basin from his backpack. Basin. The young esports god looked calm as he placed the basin in front of him. Netizens. One with a bowl, the other with a basin. Does the Xiang family all like to bring their own tableware? Ha ha ha, this basin is so big, it looks like the stainless steel basin that comes with instant noodles. Wait, why did CEO Xiang bring a pot over? It seems to be a hot pot? Under the incredulous gazes of countless people in front of the screen, the domineering president of the Xiang family, Feng Feng, calmly brought over an electric hot pot used for hot pot. Hashtag as long as my pot is big enough, I'm not afraid of not being able to eat it. Hashtag eat, why aren't you eating? Let's eat, Xiang Feng said. Director Zhang, who had always been calm and collected, widened his eyes when he saw this scene. This works too? The netizens watching the live stream laughed even harder. Ha 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 ha, I'm laughing so hard. F*ck, why is this family always making me laugh? In ancient times, Mulan joined the army on her father's behalf. Today, there's a prime minister carrying a pot to battle. Thumbs up. No, it's just lunch. Why do I feel like I'm on the battlefield? Just as the netizens were lamenting, Xiangyi picked up her chopsticks and the battle began. Chapter 552. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Several pairs of chopsticks simultaneously picked up Xiangyi's cold dish. The men from the Xiang family moved their chopsticks like the wind, their chopsticks flashing like knives and swords. A gust of wind swept through, and the cold dish was instantly emptied. When the Xiang family army went to war, not even a blade of grass grew. When it was time to taste each other's dishes, the Xiang family began to diss each other. Your ginger duck makes me want to vomit. I never thought there would be such a disgusting fish in the world. You can even make something like scrambled eggs with tomatoes so disgusting. Little uncle, you really are the god of dark cuisine. It was noisy, but it was very heartwarming. Xiangyi rested her face on her hands and watched this scene with a smile. This was the reason why no matter how many worlds she had transmigrated through, she still chose to go home. Because home was only where one's family was. Come, cheers. Xiang Feng loved liveliness. Wherever he was, there was no atmosphere that couldn't liven up. He called for everyone to raise their glasses. The little drunkard Xiongyi's eyes sparkled. Just as she was about to raise her glass, the glass in front of her was replaced with a small bottle of milk. Songchen's face was serious. The little kid wants to drink this. Xiongyi. Unhappy. She didn't dare to disobey her big brother, so she could only drink the milk dejectedly. After the meal, the Xiang brothers took over the housework. Director Zhang pulled Shi Sui and Xiongyi to talk about the collaboration. The character designs are what I just described. The scenes can be shot in about a day. I wonder if Shi Sui and Sister Yi are interested? Director Zhang was currently filming a Xianxia drama. The main plot was the traditional route of the male lead fighting monsters and stealing treasures to level up. In this drama, the male lead's golden finger also obtained a magical ring. However, the ring didn't contain a white-bearded grandpa, but rather a white-robed, wide-sleeved immortal. His interactions with the male lead weren't all about helping each other, but all kinds of sharp disagreements. The other character was a banshee in the male lead's inner demon fantasy. In order to help the male lead pass the tribulation, the venerable immortal entered the male lead's inner demon environment. As a result, she had an extremely seductive scene with a female demon. Director Zhang continued to persuade them. This will be a challenge for both of you. Shi Sui can try acting with an actress, and Sister Yi can also familiarize herself with the filming of a TV series. The requirements for a TV series are lower than for a movie. In fact, he didn't have much hope in his heart. After all, with Shi Sui's current status, there was really no need for her to play such a special guest role. Needless to say, Xiongyi didn't seem to have any ambition at all. From the bottom of his heart, he felt that the two of them fit the role too well, so he wanted to work hard. Unexpectedly, Xiongyi agreed. I can. She had been an actress in another world, but it was different from this world. She wanted to quickly adapt to the current environment so that she could cooperate with Shi Sui in the future. As soon as she agreed, Shi Sui had no objection. Sister Yi can do it, so can I. Director Zhang was overjoyed. Looks like I was right to come today. Seeing that the decision was about to be made, Xiang Feng, who was eavesdropping on the side, shouted, "Show me the script first. Are there any intimate scenes?" As soon as he said this, the brothers of the Xiang family appeared in front of director Zhang one after another. The four men with an average height of 183 centimeters and the 180 centimeters Xiang Feng formed an extremely oppressive wall. Director Zhang, who was surrounded in the middle, trembled. It's not particularly intimate. Chapter 553. Half an hour later. Director Zhang held onto the script that had been changed again and again in despair. He maintained his bottom line. No, I can't change it anymore. He had originally planned to shoot an artistic and ambiguous scene in the fantasy scene, but now there was nothing left. The only plot that remained was the demoness attempt to seduce the Celestial Lord. However, the original plot of the Celestial Lord falling into depravity was changed to the Celestial Lord pushing the demoness away and successfully transcending the tribulation. Xiang Feng smacked his lips. This is passable. However, the brothers of the Xiang family were still frowning and expressing their dissatisfaction. However, looking at the pitiful and helpless idol of their sister, the four men's hearts all softened. Forget it, this is my sister's career, we should support her. Hence, the four of them met to study the script and made sure that there were no intimate scenes or lines that crossed the line. Only then did they give up. Director Zhang heaved a long sigh of relief and said, "You guys chat, I'll go take a walk in the yard." The netizens in the live stream were laughing maniacally. Ha ha ha, Director Zhang is slipping away. Director Zhang is known for never changing a script. He actually changed it today. Her brothers and little uncle dote on Sister Yi too much. I'm so envious. Our country owes me too much. There were also netizens who felt that the act of changing the script was playing with privileges. Since you've already decided to go into acting, why care about these things? Sure enough, you can do whatever you want with money. Haha, poor screenwriter, I'm afraid he'll have to stay up late tonight to change the script. Vase fairy, you're a B***tch, and yet you still want to pretend to be chaste. Actors should film all kinds of scenes. You have no professional ethics at all. There were also some who felt that acting was just a profession and they just had to fulfill their obligations. I'm dying of laughter. For example, if you're in the workplace and your boss asks you to do something you don't want to do, you can choose to give in or jump ship. What era are we in now? Why are you still imposing all kinds of moral restraints on actors? Both sides had their own opinions and were in a heated argument. It wasn't until Xiong Feng spoke that everyone shut up. Why don't I invest some money in Director Zheng? Lest the crew make things difficult for E. He took out his cell phone and fiddled with it. After a while, he slapped his thigh. What? I'm the biggest shareholder of this drama? With Xiong Feng's current assets, most of the time, his investments were handled by professional managers and family trust funds. He had a big heart, so he didn't know much about the details of many investments. Xiong Feng muttered, then invest more. Let Re join the team. Xiang, it's okay, I don't even have 10 lines in total. No way. It's our little baby's first time filming, so we can't let her suffer. Xiong Feng looked around. Isn't that right? Xiangyi thought that her brothers would persuade her uncle, but she didn't expect that. Xiang Yu, that makes sense, I want to invest too. Xiang Qi, isn't it just money? I have plenty. Xiang Li said, Little rabbit, don't worry. Big brother still has some money to invest. Songchen's last words were concise and comprehensive. Yes. Xiang Yi. What's going on? Am I the only one who's sober in this family? Director Zhang, who was taking pictures of the flowers and plants with his cell phone in the yard, had no idea that he had received 5 investments in such a short time. Chapter 555. Yes, we didn't find out about the dislocation you mentioned. Zhuai yelled, that's because she reattached it for me. The doctor couldn't help but blurt out, she's a miracle doctor. Her healing skills are superb. Zhuai. The doctor coughed awkwardly and said, Mr. Zhua, in short, there's really nothing wrong with your body. Zhuai broke down. His body was fine, but his mind was. As soon as he closed his eyes, his mind would be filled with the image of that demonic child who looked gentle on the outside and broke like a fried dough twist. Zhuai couldn't help but shiver. The back of his clothes was already soaked in cold sweat. He finally began to regret what he had done in the past. If he hadn't treated Shi Sui that way back then, would he not have suffered the consequences of his own actions today? As evening approached, the Xiong brothers all left one after another as they had their own matters to attend to. In the end, only Xiong Feng stayed behind. Unable to stand Xiangyi's coquettish behavior, he ordered a take-out feast for his niece, which included all kinds of junk food. The two of them even hid in the small kitchen and secretly ate behind Shi Sui and Director Zheng's backs. Come, cheers. Xiong Feng held the milk tea and toasted Xiangyi with pride. Xiangyi took a big gulp and successfully sucked in the pearl herb and pudding. She also ordered a piece of fried chicken that was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, which was dipped in sweet and spicy sauce. When she bit into it, she could even hear the crisp sound of it burning. The girl squinted her eyes in bliss as her little legs fluttered excitedly. Eating junk food was so delicious. It's so delicious. Little uncle. Xiong Feng smiled foolishly. He, I like it too. The uncle and niece reached a consensus and dug in. This scene was recorded by the camera, and the audience in the live stream protested. This 3D surround sound. Oh, I'm dying of hunger. Little uncle seems a little unreliable, but I love it so much, ha ha. Last second, fried chicken with milk tea is so hot. I'm not eating it. At this second, are you there? Do you have a takeout coupon? I'll place the order now. After eating and drinking to her heart's content, Xiangyi felt a little guilty. She rubbed her belly, took a clean paper box, and filled it with all the food. Who is it for? Shi Sui, Xiangyi said seriously. It's not good to eat alone. Xiang Feng said with certainty, he won't eat such junk food. Don't judge him by how he can endure hardships when he's filming. He's usually very pretentious. He doesn't eat explosives, he doesn't drink milk tea, and he rarely touches anything sour or spicy. He's even healthier than the elderly. The next second, a deep and magnetic voice drifted into his ears from afar. It's not a bad idea to eat some occasionally. Xiang Feng. He instinctively felt guilty, but when he saw that Shi Sui was alone, he was slightly relieved. TSK, wasn't it because Chen Chen and the others used to catch her in the act so often that she was traumatized? The table was in a mess. Shi Sui glanced over and stopped for a few seconds on Xiangyi's iced milk tea, which had only 1/3 left. Do you want to try it? This fried chicken and onion rings are very delicious, and there's also a pumpkin pie. Xiangyi handed over the small box like she was presenting a treasure. Shi Sui smiled slightly and didn't let Xiangyi down. He tried all of them. Oh, not bad, he commented. Xiang Feng's eyes widened. You're actually making an exception to eat these? Didn't you say you would never eat junk food? Shi Sui said indifferently, first of all, people can't eat junk food. Secondly, a white horse isn't a horse. Junk food doesn't equal junk food. Finally, what you eat isn't important. What's important is who I'm eating with. Chapter 556. The man's voice was mellow and gentle, and he looked like a gentleman. Yet, his words were inexplicably sweet. The experts in the live stream all popped up. I'm getting candy every day. Square root. Focus. The most important thing is to eat it with Sister E. Shi Sui is so good at this. She's reasonable, and a little flirtatious. He'll eat all the food she gives him. This joke is so sweet and torturous. Are there any wives out there? The comment section was in full swing, but in reality, Xiang Feng made a vomiting gesture. I'm going to vomit. You're not forcing yourself to eat food you don't like because of me, are you? Xiangyi? Shi Sui? The netizens? Bro, don't say any more, I understand. Xiang Feng patted Shi Sui on the shoulder and said earnestly, be a human, don't be a pervert. Shi Sui was not surprised and simply smiled without saying anything. Xiangyi couldn't help but put her hand to her forehead. There was a reason why Xiang Feng had the lowest IQ in the family. Xiang Feng, I understand. Well, it's my fault for being so popular. The whole world likes the handsome and charming me. The netizens? What? Mr. Xiang, do you have some misconceptions about yourself? What kind of rare and naive species is this? But why do I find him so cute? On this day, something happened that made the public relations department of an internet celebrity company under Xingchen Entertainment not know whether to laugh or cry. The overall quality of the internet celebrities cultivated by the company was not bad, but they didn't have many fans in the industry. However, they didn't expect that after their boss appeared on Two Under One Roof, he would inexplicably become famous all over the internet. The number of fans he gained in a day was even greater than the number of circles that the public relations department had worked hard to maintain for a long time. Their boss had become famous before the internet celebrities under their company became famous. After dinner, Xiangyi reluctantly said goodbye to Xiang Feng. Xiang Feng ate too much and his abdominal muscles were almost squished together as he scrolled through the news on his cell phone. The chauffeur drove steadily. Suddenly, screech. The tires screeched violently against the ground. Xiang Feng's body leaned forward uncontrollably, but he bounced back to his original position with the help of the seatbelt. Mr. Xiang. The chauffeur trembled. Someone fainted. It was originally a sunny day, but for some reason, it started to rain. It was a downpour. A frail and slender woman was lying in front of the car. Her white dress clung tightly to her body, outlining her graceful curves. The driver lowered his gaze, not daring to look at her. Xiang Feng, however, was very calm. Call 120 first. Okay. After the driver finished the call, he saw that Xiang Feng hadn't moved. Mr. Xiang, why don't I go down and take a look? Although the woman was not hit by them but fell on her own, out of humanitarian spirit, the driver felt that they should go and take a look. No way. What if I blackmail you? Driver? Are you listening to human speech? On the ground, Qin Wanyan was so cold that her teeth were chattering. She had used up the last of her points to exchange for a weather-changing card. After waiting for a long time, she finally fell right in front of Xiang Feng's car. Unexpectedly, he didn't get out of the car even after a few minutes. Instead, the ambulance arrived. The car window finally rolled down and she heard the man speak. Can you still stand up? Qin Wanyan's eyes were filled with hope. She thought that Xiang Feng couldn't bear to get out of the car to accompany her, but she heard the next sentence. The ambulance's stretcher is charged. If you can stand up, I suggest you climb into the car. That way you can save some money. No need to thank me. After all, I'm the successor of socialism. Qin Wanyan. Chapter 557. Qin Wanyan was completely dumbfounded when she heard Xiang Feng, that universe-level man of steel, speak. She questioned the system in her mind. Are you sure he's my target? Is there a need to target such a perfect man? The little system said weakly, Hello, host. According to my calculations, the target has the aura of a domineering CEO. Both his assets and appearance are top-notch in this dimension. In addition, he has an entertainment empire under his name. If you target him, you'll be in the entertainment industry. Hearing this, Qin Wanyan gritted her teeth and pinched her thigh hard. Tears squeezed out of her eyes, and her body trembled from the cold. Sir, I'm so scared. Can you please accompany me to the hospital? The woman in the white dress looked pitiful under the heavy rain. If it were any other man, even if they weren't moved, they would at least soften. However, Xiang Feng said warily, You want me to pay for your stretcher? It's too expensive. It's not worth it. Don't extort me. Qin Wanyan was speechless. She choked and couldn't speak. At this moment, a doctor got out of the car and held an umbrella for Qin Wanyan. He did a simple checkup to see if she had any fractures or bleeding. A nurse took her temperature with a thermometer. The patient's fever is 39 degrees. Qin Wanyan forced herself to stay awake and looked in Xiang Feng's direction with tears in her eyes. The man poked half his head out of the car window and said something that made her feel suffocated. 39 degrees? 666. Awesome. Qin Wanyan was speechless. He met a young woman who was soaking wet in the rain. Instead of carrying her to the car, he said, 666, to her with a high fever. What kind of man was this? Qin Wanyan's eyes rolled. Because of her body and extreme anger, she fainted. 2 days later. The sun was shining brightly. It was a sunny day. Xiangyi and Shi Sui arrived at the set of Achieving the Tao, which director Zhang was filming. Director Zhang was directing and couldn't leave, so he asked the assistant director to receive them. The assistant director, whose surname was Liu, glanced at Xiangyi before turning back to Shi Sui as if nothing had happened. Shengdi, welcome, welcome. Director Liu shook hands with Shi Sui. Then, he wanted to shake hands with Xiangyi as well, but the girl only nodded slightly. Hello. Director Liu was instantly displeased. He felt that Xiangyi did not know how to appreciate his kindness. So many popular female celebrities had to flatter him when they saw him. What right did Xiangyi have to be so arrogant? What an idiot. With his status, wouldn't it be easy for him to make things difficult for her on set? Shengdi, your dressing room is in front. Teacher Xiang, your room is over here. Shi Sui rubbed Xiangyi's hair. I'll come to you later. Xiangyi nodded obediently. She entered the makeup room. The makeup artist had yet to arrive. Director Lu walked around outside for a while. Seeing that there was no one around, he swaggered in. They first chatted about their daily lives. Then he changed the topic. Miss Xiang, this must be your first time acting seriously, right? Don't worry, we'll take good care of Xiangyi. At most, we'll shoot a few more scenes. Director Lu sounded like he was taking care of her, but he was actually dissing her for being inexperienced in acting. In the past year, Xiangyi had indeed acted in idol dramas, but they were of the crudely produced kind. Her acting skills were so bad that she could only stare and pout while pretending to cry. There were even animated pictures of her dark history circulating on the internet. Xiangyi said, "Thank you, I'll pay more attention." Director Lu sneered, "You?" Chapter 558. Xiangyi looked at him quietly. Director Lu used his usual tactic to suppress actresses and said, "There are some things that can't be achieved with hard work. As humans, it's important to know your own limits. Ahem, I'm not talking about you, but don't take it personally." However, his tone was clearly saying, "Please take my words to heart. In this crew, you artists have it the easiest. Look at the cameraman, lighting technician, stage supervisor, and those extras. Which one of them doesn't have it tough?" Director Lu pretended to sigh and said, "Everyone has it tough. Everyone wants to work hard and do their job well. However, some people can reap 10 times the benefits, while others may not even reap 1% of the benefits." "So?" Xiangyi asked. Her calmness surprised Director Lu. Most actresses would start to feel anxious when they heard this. In today's society, women were under a lot of pressure. In the entertainment industry, female artists were not only anxious about their looks, but also about their careers. They would always feel that they were not good enough. When they heard others denying themselves, they would doubt their lives even more. If you're not good at your job, why don't you try something else? Director Lu used this method to get many actresses to willingly climb into his bed. Seeing that Xiangyi was not enlightened, Director Lu cleared his throat and said, "Teacher Xiang, your popularity now is only brought about by variety shows. Without the popularity of your work, you're like duckweed. Without a foundation, you won't be able to stand firm." Why should duckweed stand firm? Xiangyi was puzzled. If you're a salted fish, you'll have to make a comeback. If you're a duckweed, you can just float as you please. Everyone has the right to choose their own life. Director Lu was speechless. "So, you're willing to be a duckweed?" "Can't I be a human?" Xiangyi said calmly. Director Lu was speechless. Why is this young lady so stubborn? Coincidentally, the makeup artist arrived. When she saw Xiangyi in person, the makeup artist was stunned. "Teacher Xiang, your skin condition is so good. You don't even need to put on any foundation makeup." The makeup artist praised as she busied herself. "I'll just give you a simple highlight." Director Lu shamelessly refused to leave. He inched closer and said, "Let me help. Teacher Xiang, let me help you with your hair." The makeup artist's expression was ugly, but he didn't dare to say anything. Director Zheng was an actor fanatic. He could film for an entire day just for a few scenes. Usually, he did not care about the daily chores of the crew, so Director Lu became an existence that could cover the sky with one hand. Xiangyi was one step ahead of Director Lu. She picked up the small metal box that someone had left behind on the table and said calmly, "I have a specialty." Director Lu teased Xiangyi, "I also have a specialty." The next second, crack. The small iron box was easily deformed by her single hand. She raised her eyebrows and said indifferently, "It's nothing, just a little too strong." Director Lu felt a sharp pain in a part of his body. With Xiangyi's strength, it would probably explode with a casual squeeze. Director Lu gulped and frantically tried to find an excuse. Well, I suddenly remembered that I have a scene to direct later. I'll go to the set first. After he left, the makeup artist couldn't help but give Xiangyi a thumbs up. Teacher Xiang, you're awesome. You have no idea how many female staff members in the crew are annoyed by him. Finally, there's someone who can control him. Ha ha ha. Chapter 559. At the same time, some fans who were camping at the set of Obtaining the Tao secretly took photos of Shi Sui and Xiangyi coming to the set. After posting the photos online, it instantly caused a huge uproar. On one hand, it was because of Shi Sui's influence that more people began to pay attention to the show. On the other hand, it was because of Xiangyi's professional skills that she was once again singled out and ridiculed by the masses. Joke aside, Xiangyi's acting, please don't act. With such a beautiful face, can't she become a fashion model in a magazine? To be honest, Shi Sui has lost his mind because of lust. Doesn't he know that he has to rely on his own life to become famous? I thought there was nothing more torturous than the vase fairy singing, but I didn't expect there to be such a thing. That is, acting skills. Every frame of her is like a ghost video. After someone posted a photo of director Lu entering Xiangyi's dressing room, the discussion became even more heated. Wow, I think I've suddenly understood something. I suddenly feel like Xiangyi is so disgusting. Don't tell me her image as a group favorite is also a publicity stunt? Would a real rich beauty do such a thing? So what if she's rich and beautiful? Many children of rich families are psychopaths. Some steal things for thrills, while others steal people for thrills. With the invention of the internet, the spread of information reached the fastest speed in the history of human civilization. Countless pieces of information, good, bad, meaningful, meaningless, and fragmented, occupied the time. Warmth and beauty were shared. Hostility and savagery collided. 1 second, one might be moved to tears by the positive energy, but the next second, one would be typing on the keyboard fiercely. The evil and good of human nature might not have a fixed pattern to begin with, but rather, it was constantly changing. Even ordinary people would be pointed at and gossiped about, not to mention the populous Xiangyi. Some people were madly in love with her, while others thought everything about her was wrong. The controversy seemed to never stop. The makeup artist was still putting on Xiangyi's eye makeup when Shi Sui came over. The man was dressed in a white robe with wide sleeves. His long eyebrows reached his temples. After putting on a wig, he looked like an elegant young master from ancient times who was seeking immortality. Xiangyi stared at Shi Sui in the mirror without blinking. How could she be so beautiful? Shi Sui greets the makeup artist. She glances at the girl's expression through the glasses and chuckles. Do you like it? Xiangyi nodded vigorously. The makeup artist didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sister E, don't be so forceful. Your eyeshadow almost made you faint. I'm sorry. Xiangyi was a little embarrassed and quickly sat down. An actress' makeup was difficult to put on, and braiding her hair was even more time-consuming. Shi Sui stayed with Xiangyi for a while, and seeing that she was sleepy, he went out to buy her coffee. Shi Sui ordered a vanilla latte for the bunny. When she returned, she heard director Lu talking on the phone with someone at the end of the corridor. Xiangyi? That girl is so aloof. I don't know who she's putting on an act for. I don't believe that she's rich and beautiful. Would a real rich family let their daughter enter the entertainment industry? What's the difference between that and selling? Telling Xiangyi that he was going to the scene was just an excuse. In fact, he had been loitering nearby. If he didn't take advantage of Xiangyi, his heart would itch. But she's really stunning. Her waist is thin and her butt is perky. From the back she's definitely, hey. Whoosh, his phone was suddenly snatched away. Who is it? Are you crazy? Director Lu was halfway through his scolding when he saw Shi Sui. His expression suddenly stiffened and he stuttered, Shi Sui. Chapter 560. He never expected that someone would overhear him complaining to his friend over the phone. Of all people, it was Shi Sui. He had interacted with Shi Sui before, and his deepest impression of her was that she was a natural at acting. She would almost always complete her scenes in one take, and even if she yelled, "cut," it was mostly because of the other actors. Apart from that, Shi Sui was gentle and polite to people and was almost non-aggressive. The young best actor lowered his eyes and hung up the phone casually. Director Liu felt uneasy, but he pretended to be calm. "I was just joking with my friend over the phone." "Ah, you know what men are like." "I was just joking. Please don't take it to heart." Shi Sui said in a lazy voice. "What should I do?" "I do take it to heart." Director Liu laughed dryly. "Ha ha, I know you two are close friends. Ah, let me apologize to you. It's my fault, my fault." "You found the wrong person to apologize to." Director Liu was displeased to hear that. He apologized to Shi Sui because he wanted to give Shi Sui some face. Xiangyi was just a young girl. Not only did she not suck up to him, she even wanted him to apologize to her? Director Liu subconsciously said what was on his mind. Is that necessary? As soon as he said that, Shi Sui grabbed his collar. His collar was suddenly grabbed, and Director Liu felt an irresistible force that threw him against the wall. Not necessary? Huh. The window was half open and the summer breeze blew in, but Director Liu felt a chill in his heart. Yes, it's necessary. Director Liu's legs turned to jelly and his voice was trembling. Shi Sui, take it easy. We're on the 3rd floor. The pair of eyes behind the gold-rimmed glasses were deep and indifferent, without a trace of emotion. The man finally tore off his mask of gentleness, revealing the powerful aura that he usually hid well. Go apologize. The man's voice was cold. Immediately. Xiangyi's hair was halfway braided when Director Liu suddenly barged in recklessly. He bowed and apologized profusely, his humble attitude completely different from before. Teacher Xiang, I won't disturb you any longer. Director Liu came and left in a hurry. Xiangyi? ? It was quite sudden. The makeup artist was also stunned. How did this person suddenly change? Is it raining red? Xiangyi shook her head, indicating that she didn't know either. A while after Director Liu left, Shi Sui came back with a cup of coffee. Is the coffee shop far away? Xiangyi felt that he had been gone for a long time. I accidentally spilled it, so I went to buy another cup. Hearing this, Xiangyi immediately asked nervously, Are you okay? Are you scalded? Shi Sui hid her left hand behind her back. Nothing. Xiangyi was so anxious that her baby voice came out. Let me see. Shi Sui then, reluctantly, showed it to her. Faint blue veins could be vaguely seen on his cold white skin. There was a red burn mark on his skin. Although it wasn't very serious, it was exceptionally obvious. The makeup artist thought that Xiangyi would say something along the lines of, Why are you so careless? Unexpectedly, the girl sighed. You're really too delicate. The makeup artist. You're not allowed to do this kind of work in the future, let me do it. Xiangyi said seriously. Shi Sui couldn't help but laugh. Okay. Thank you, Sister E. The makeup artist was stunned on the spot. So, Shi Sui is such a gigolo. At the filming location, Shi Sui first filmed a few dialogue scenes, most of which were bickering with the male lead. He had a solid foundation in his lines and passed all the scenes in one take. Immediately after, it was his turn to film scenes with Xiangyi. Chapter 561. Shi Yingdi is going to shoot a scene with a female star? Is that true? I can't imagine it. Back then, he and Zhong Yi had such a flirtatious look in their eyes. It'll be so cool if there's an intimate scene. I think it's true, but I heard that the script has been changed. The female star is amazing. She brought money into the cast, and she even brought 5 people's money. Damn, she's so good at it. That's right. Hee, maybe there's more than 5 people. A few staff members in the drinking area were gossiping in low voices, laughing and laughing happily. Suddenly, a roar was heard. How can some people be so sarcastic? How annoying! How despicable! They were all speechless. A person sat up on a reclining chair nearby and took off the script and jacket covering his face. It was Fu Jiayan, the male lead of Achieving the Truth. The man had not removed his makeup. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his eyebrows were handsome. He had an ancient charm but not lost his liveliness. Fu Jiayan rested his slender fingers on his forehead and yawned lazily. Sorry, I'm just practicing my lines. Did I disturb you? The faces of the gossiping staff changed slightly. They had been on the set of Achieving the Truth for so long and had read the script. From beginning to end, the male lead had never said such lines. It was nothing more than Fu Jiayan scolding them indirectly. However, even if they knew what was going on, they did not dare to offend the lead actor with a limitless future. They could only smile stiffly and agree. Mr. Fu, your lines are so good. Mr. Fu, why don't you go back to the dressing room to rest? It's not good for your waist to lie on this chair for too long. Ha ha ha, Mr. Fu, what are you talking about? We're afraid that we'll disturb your practice. They found an excuse and quickly slipped away. Fu Jiayan snorted coldly. Bah! How dare you speak ill of our sister Yi? He had just done a few scenes with Shi Sui, and the pressure was too great. Moreover, he had been filming non-stop for the past few days. He was too lazy to go back to the dressing room, so he decided to rest here. He did not expect him to overhear their conversation. Fu Jiayan lowered his head and sent a message to Director Zheng. Not long after, the staff members who had spoken ill of Xiangyi were all asked to leave the set. They looked at each other in dismay, as if they were struck by lightning. Why? At the filming location. The location was set in an antique building. The furniture in the building was basically emptied, making it look spacious and clean. In contrast, the smoky red gauze curtain was like a faint mist. When the blower blew, the mist seemed to be flowing, layer upon layer, densely spreading out. Director Zhang was urging them to adjust the lighting one last time. The warm dim lighting pushed the ambiguous atmosphere to the extreme. His eyes lit up when he saw Shi Sui and Xiangyi. There was no need to talk about Shi Sui. What amazed him the most was Xiangyi's costume. Originally, he was worried that Xiangyi's appearance wouldn't be suitable for ancient costumes. He didn't expect that the girl's bone structure was so good that she didn't look out of place in ancient costumes. Her red clothes were like raging flames, outlining her graceful and slender figure. Her eyeliner was slightly lengthened, and as her eyes moved, she was beautiful but not beautiful, seductive but not glamorous. She was naturally devastatingly beautiful. Director Zhang suddenly thought of a description: clean and seductive. The two words, which were originally completely unrelated, were perfectly integrated in Xiangyi's words. His mind was overflowing with inspiration. He instantly overturned the original filming plan and came up with a new arrangement. Sister Yi, let me tell you the scene again. How about we let Shi Sui seduce you? I just realized that it's a double monthly ticket. Please give me a monthly ticket. Chapter 562. Xiangyi was stunned for a moment before she nodded. Okay, I'm fine with anything. The crew was dumbfounded. What was going on? Wasn't the demoness seducing the celestial? Why was it the other way around? Wasn't this OOC? Director Zhang was inspired and continued, in terms of the plot, it's fine as long as it's logical and self-consistent. The most important thing is the atmosphere between the two of you. The demoness is seductive on the outside but clean on the inside, while the celestial is abstinent on the outside but devilish on the inside. One seduces without knowing it, while the other wants to restrain himself but can't. The scriptwriter was a girl wearing black-rimmed glasses. When she heard the director's words, she excitedly typed on the keyboard. Oh. How moving! How moving! Director Zheng really knew how to do this. Just imagining it made her feel as if countless scenes would be blocked as soon as she wrote them. In the past, when she was asked to change the script, she would be dejected. Today, Director Zheng didn't even need to say anything. She wanted to add a few thousand words to this plot. When Director Zheng and Xiangyi were almost done, the scriptwriter finished changing the plot and took the initiative to show it to Director Zheng. After Director Zheng read it, he was overjoyed. Good. This is the feeling I wanted. Then he was puzzled. You usually don't have any motivation to work. Why do you look like you're on steroids today? The scriptwriter screamed in her heart. Because I'm an untimely CP fan. On the surface, she said calmly, because I've decided to turn over a new leaf and devote all my passion to work. Director Zhang looked at her suspiciously for a few seconds before his attention returned to Xiangyi. He was a little worried about Xiangyi's acting skills. If she was just average, he could still teach her through drama and guidance. But if she was hopelessly bad, for this scene, he could only focus on Shi Sui's scenes and let her be a beautiful vase. Shi Sui and Xiangyi both had photographic memories. They only watched it once and remembered all the lines. This saved a lot of time. Director Zhang waved his hand. Let's do a test shoot first. If there are any problems with the equipment and lighting, we can adjust it again. Saying this was to save Xiangyi some face in front of everyone. Even if the shooting was too bad, Director Zhang could still give her a way out. Meanwhile, the few staff members who had been fired earlier were filled with resentment. It just so happened that the large group of people who were working did not have time to kick them out. When they heard someone talking about Director Zhang changing the plot at the last minute, a few of them uploaded a screenshot online. When the netizens saw the changed plot, they started mocking him again. Can the vase fairy act in such a difficult plot? Shi Sui seduced Xiangyi? Was she even worthy? Is there something wrong with the director's brain? Doesn't Shi Yingdi have misogyny? How is he going to act? Isn't he deliberately making things difficult for others? How much did Xiangyi spend to bribe the director? Just as the netizens were mocking him non-stop, the filming began. The smoky red gauze curtains fluttered in the wind, and the paper lanterns were warm and charming. The venerable immortal who had mistakenly entered the illusion first looked around. When he saw the demoness resting on the bed, he immediately drew his sword. The next moment, the ignorant and beautiful little demoness opened her eyes without realizing it. Her pupils were clean and clear, but there was a seductive charm to them. The little demoness blinked innocently. When she saw the long sword in his hand, she showed a little fear. Hence, the aloof and abstinent celestial venerable was expressionless but extremely gentle as he put away his sword. Chapter 563. The little demoness heaved a sigh of relief, looking extremely relieved. At this point, Director Zhang, who was watching from behind the monitor, wanted to slap the table and cheer. Shi Sui's performance was as good as ever, and there was nothing much to comment on. However, Xiangyi's performance was really surprising. From the initial confusion to the adorable look after the celestial put away his sword, her performance was natural and smooth, without any trace of acting. Acting didn't feel like acting. For a new actor, this was a very difficult thing to do. However, Xiangyi did it. Director Zhang had originally expected only 10 points from Xiangyi, but now that Xiangyi had scored 80 points, he was even happier. In the frame, the Celestial Lord, who was dressed in white and had wide sleeves, was walking towards the little demoness. Finally, he stopped in front of the bed. "Who are you?" the little demoness asked with her head tilted. "Do you want to know?" The Celestial Lord's voice was deep and hoarse. "Tell me your name first." The little demoness said warily, "Don't come so close, or I'll eat you up." The man seemed to laugh. "How will you eat me up?" The little demoness plucked up her courage and pushed him. Based on her skills, she could not do anything to the Celestial Lord. A strange look flashed across the man's eyes, and he took 2 steps back to put some distance between them. His hands under his wide sleeves unconsciously clenched into fists, and he gradually exerted strength to his joints. Director Zhang thought to himself, he's indeed a 3-award-winning actor. His acting is so delicate. This man was fickle and had few desires. Naturally, he would struggle when his heart was moved for the first time. He did not want to hurt her. However, has Shi Sui's acting skills improved recently? Her affectionate and restrained gaze was so good. Director Zheng was secretly shocked. Shi Sui was probably the most qualified person among the younger generation to compete for an international acting award. The Celestial Lord's actions made the little demoness think that he was actually very weak. When she noticed the bloodstains on the Celestial Lord's body, she hesitated for a moment before jumping off the bed and patting the mattress generously. You can sleep for a while. Ha! You are injured. You need to rest. The demoness tugged at the Immortal Supremacy's sleeve, indicating for him to lie down. The man's expression was unreadable. He lay down silently and closed his eyes to rest. A rustling sound came from beside him. It was the little banshee who was curiously touching his sword. The flying sword that caused countless people in the immortal cultivation world to tremble in fear was now being played by the little demoness. She even secretly tied the sword tassel into a bow. The celestial venerable frowned slightly but did not stop him. After the demoness finished fiddling with the sword, she became interested in the Immortal Supremacy. She first used her finger to poke at the Immortal Supremacy's sleeve before poking at his belt. Her fair and slender wrist was suddenly grabbed by a pair of large hands. Stop it! The man's voice was hoarse. Oh! The demoness wanted to retract her hand but realized that it would not budge. She whispered, "Stop fooling around." In response to her, the man's rough fingertips gently and slowly rubbed her wrist a few times. Director Zheng took a close-up of this scene. His large hand holding her small hand was inexplicably very expressive. The crew at the scene was stunned. On one hand, it was because of Xiongyi's acting skills. On the other hand, it was because Shi Sui was actually holding Xiongyi's hand without any abnormalities. One had to know that he would vomit on the spot if he had any physical contact with other actresses. But why was nothing wrong with holding Xiongyi's hand? It seemed like he was enjoying holding her hand. Chapter 564. The little demoness' ears turned red as she was caught off guard by his touch. She was shocked and panicked. Without thinking, she bit the man's fingertip. Ouch! The man gasped, as if he was holding back something. After a while, he released his hand and covered his eyes, not wanting to reveal any of his emotions. The little demoness thought that she had bitten him. She said carefully, "Well, I'm a monster. I'm poisonous." The Celestial Lord did not respond. The little demoness said nervously, "Will I poison you to death? I've been in the illusion realm for a long time. You're the first person to come in. If you die like this, won't I be alone again?" She was very distressed and blamed herself. After thinking about it, the little demoness made a bold decision. She climbed onto the bed and approached the Celestial Lord like a nimble cat. The Celestial Lord noticed her small movements and said helplessly, "I won't die so easily." The rest of the words were all choked back. The reason was that the little demoness was lying on his chest and licking her red lips. "I'll give you half of my inner core." The Celestial Lord tried to push her, but she did not budge. Everyone was immersed in this sweet and flirtatious scene when they suddenly heard a sound. Cut. Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream. Although they didn't know what went wrong, there were still many people who looked at Xiongyi with gloating eyes. Shi Sui was the best actor. How could he make a mistake? Of course, Xiongyi was at fault. Unexpectedly, Director Zhang shouted, "Shi Sui, what's wrong with you? Did you not eat enough? Push her. Push her harder." Everyone was speechless. What? So it wasn't Xiongyi who made a mistake, but Shi Sui? Shi Sui coughed and said, "Sorry." Ever since he entered the industry, he had never made such a low-level mistake. He did not expect to fall for Xiongyi. Who could bear to push away such a gentle and adorable little rabbit? The scriptwriter was so agitated that he covered his nose with a tissue, afraid that he would have a nosebleed. This plot was too good. If you don't write fanfiction, you're not human. She took out her phone, opened the sticky note app, and began to slack off. Apotheosis Immortal Ching Ling X Soft and Cute Demonis. She has no morals, and only eats meat for the sake of eating meat. If you don't like her, please click cross. She typed furiously, writing more than 1,000 words in a matter of minutes. On the other side, after the stylist touched up Shi Sui and Xiongyi's makeup, she began the second shoot. Both of them were on point, and their acting went smoothly. The Immortal Prime mercilessly pushed the little demoness away and coldly said, "Don't come near me." The little demoness fell to the ground and looked at him in shock. "But you are sleeping in my bed, venerable Immortal." After a few seconds of silence he said, "Come here." "I'm not going. I've been poisoned. I'm about to die." The senior Immortal said seriously. "I need you to help me. Is that okay?" "Oh." When the demoness heard this, she slowly inched over. Just as she reached the bedside, she was pulled onto the bed. After a moment of dizziness, she was in a position where the senior Immortal was on top of her. "Do you want to save me?" the man asked hoarsely in her ear. The little demoness nodded her head in confusion. His voice fell. A pair of warm hands covered her eyes. "Then be good." Through the layers of veil, Director Zhang deliberately took a silhouette of the two of them intertwined. It was very artistic and ambiguous. When he shouted, "Cut," the scene was still silent. No one expected that apart from her stunning beauty, Xiongyi also had such explosive acting skills. Chapter 565. The shooting was over. Shi Sui immediately got up and distanced himself from her. He was a gentleman to the extreme. The staff on set woke up from their daze and rushed forward to wrap up the scene. Everyone stole glances at the two of them. Shi Sui was still in his costume, but his temperament had changed abruptly. He returned to his gentle and dignified appearance from Master Immortal Qing Ling. Obviously, he was out of character. As expected of the best actor, his speed of getting into character and getting out of character was superb. Xiongyi would probably have a hard time. Huh? What was shocking was that Xiongyi was out of character as well. On the girl's body, there was no longer the slightest bit of naivety, sweet, or seductive temperament. Even if she was wearing bright eye makeup, one could still clearly feel that she was her. She was a different person from the little girlfriend in the movie. Her speed of getting out of character was comparable to Shi Sui's. F***ck. Who was the one who said that her acting was bad? Were the eyes used to vent their anger? Director Zhang was a perfectionist who was extremely picky when it came to art. He stared at the scene just now and rewatched it several times before he made an "okay" gesture to Shi Sui and Xiongyi, who were resting. "It's perfect. We just need to shoot a few more scenes. I want a more aesthetic effect." The two of them had no objections and cooperated very well. Director Zhang suddenly thought of something and rubbed his palms guiltily. "Sister E, will your brothers and little uncles be angry that the script has been changed like this?" In the original version, the most intimate physical contact between the two was the little demoness pulling Shi Sui's sleeve, let alone the Immortal seducing the demoness. However, the scriptwriter had written on the spot and Director Zhang was a little carried away, so he impulsively shot according to the changed script. Now, he regretted it in hindsight. Xiongyi said seriously, "My brothers and little uncles will understand if I sacrifice myself for art." The little girl looked calm, but in fact, if one looked closely, they would find that the tips of her milky white ears were dyed with a touch of crimson. If it were any other actor, she would never do such a scene, but the one who was acting with her was Shi Sui. She quite liked this kind of open and above-board feeling. Perhaps it was time to give Shi Sui a status? Director Zhang heaved a sigh of relief when he got her permission. It was so comfortable to work with a good-tempered and good-natured actress like Sister E. The few additional shots were mostly close-up shots of her on the bed. For example, their hands were clasped together, Another example would be the intertwining of a red dress and a white belt. The most beautiful scene was when the venerable immortal raised his hand to cover the eyes of the little demoness. His meticulous white robe was now open, and his clean Adam's apple was slightly red. It was messy and ambiguous. After the reshoot, the two of them were done with their scenes. Although it was just a guest appearance, director Zhang still prepared a small wrapping ceremony for the two of them. Fu Jian ran over to join in the fun and prepared gifts for the two of them. Xiangyi had a self-heating hot pot, and Shi Sui had a black thermos. Sister E, this hot pot is delicious. It's just that you might be a little heaty after eating it. Fu Jian chuckled, looking particularly like a comedian. Xiangyi was stunned for a moment before she smiled. Thank you. Are you that happy? Fu Jian scratched his head. It's okay, Sister E. You can tell me if you don't like it. You don't have to act. No, I'm really happy. Other than my family, I rarely receive gifts from others. Xiangyi was a little embarrassed. Fu Jian was very surprised. Huh? How is that possible? Chapter 566. I don't have many friends. Ever since she was a child, she had been busy with her studies and had been skipping grades. She learned medical skills from her grandfather and studied cooking by herself. Every time she went to a new environment, the people around her would change before she had time to get used to it. Apart from Zhang Jiujiu, she had never had any close female friends. Even if there were girls who approached her, they would mostly be after her brothers or uncles. Over time, Xiangyi rarely took the initiative to socialize and was more used to being immersed in her own small world. Fu Jian was very surprised. Sister E, you're such a gentle person, how can you not have any friends? He suddenly paused and realized something. She's only treated so casually because she's gentle. Fu Jian was indeed an actor. He immediately came up with a big scene for Xiangyi and patted her shoulder in agony. Sister E, I'll give you gifts often in the future. Before he finished speaking, he felt a dagger glare from a certain Shi Sui. He was so frightened that his hand trembled and he hurriedly retracted it. The reason was that Shi Sui's gaze was too oppressive and he was scared. Director Zhang flew into a rage when he learned that someone had leaked the news of the script change. Not only did he want to pursue the legal responsibility of the staff who had been fired, he also immediately got someone to edit a video and post it on the internet. TV Drama Dideo Official. Today's spoiler has been delivered. Fellow Taoists, please sign for it. I'll post the first video of the mental demon fantasy scene today. This interaction is so sweet. P.S. Guess who made a mistake and made the director call for cut? The video was obviously the scene between the immortal and the demoness. Some netizens didn't even click on the video and began to criticize below. Needless to say, Xiangyi must be the one who dragged our Shi Sui down. I'm so tired. Of all the things pretty sister can do, she just has to act. Doesn't Xiangyi only know how to glare and pout? It's really hard on Shi Sui to act with her. However, after the netizens clicked on the video, due to the lack of time, they only used a simple filter to adjust the color. They didn't even have time to match the music, not to mention the various fancy special effects of the Xianxia drama. However, it was precisely because of this that the audience could feel Shi Sui and Xiangyi's acting skills. From the moment the Celestial Venerable stepped into the veil to the moment the little demoness was pulled into the Celestial Venerable's embrace, the plot was so sweet that it was off the charts. Especially the last set of close-up shots, it could be said to be a classic work of ancient aesthetics. Netizens. So fragrant. F*CK? What the hell am I doing? Is this Xiangyi? Is this for real? Could it be an AI? I'm shocked. Shi Sui's acting can still improve. Xiangyi's acting is also so good. She's so smooth and natural. I really don't feel that she's acting. In addition to being surprised by Xiangyi's acting skills, they were more interested in the plot. Such an interesting plot and she's only a supporting character? Fuzheng. Straighten him up immediately. Director, screenwriter, quickly add more scenes for these two. I want to watch the Celestial Venerable and the Little Demoness fall in love for 100 episodes. Ah, the Celestial Venerable's eyes are so flirtatious, and the Little Demoness is so sweet and soft. She's so seductive. This couple is too good. At the end of the video, director Zheng's exclamation of, "Push them hard," was like a roar from the soul, poking at countless people's funny spots. Who would have thought that the one who made a mistake was Shi Sui? On this day, the untimely couple fans rapidly grew in number. Countless scholars shouted in unison, rounded up to the bridal chamber. "Sisters, we've got it for real. I'll adjust my schedule and move the 2 chapters in the morning to the day. I'll also pick a signed book, just leave a comment, good night." Chapter 567. The couple's fans were celebrating. However, the directors and actors in the industry could feel Xiangyi's amazing acting skills from this short video. Apart from being natural, her aura was almost overflowing from the screen. Her beautiful eyes were captivating, and every frown and smile was moving. How was this a gift from the ancestral master? This was the ancestral master carrying a pot and chasing after him to coax him to eat. Many directors remembered Xiangyi's name. This new bee has a promising future. The thing that really pushed this video to the climax was a new fan novel, The Celestial Lord, written by a popular but low-key writer on a foreign website. The protagonists were the Celestial Lord and the Little Demoness in Obtaining the Tao. However, the plot leaped from the baby carriage to supersonic speed. If it was placed on domestic websites, it would be blocked with an asterisk. However, this author was too good at writing. He vividly portrayed the ambiguous and sweet relationship between the Celestial Lord and the Little Demoness. It was like stewing a pot of beef brisket with tomatoes. Not only was the meat fragrant, but the soup was also sweet. Although it was only a few thousand words, this novel went viral all of a sudden. Enthusiastic netizens even brought it back to China and secretly spread it around. All of a sudden, the official Weibo account of Obtaining the Tao was full of discussions. Looking for full text resources. The video is even better with the fan novel. What kind of deity is the author of The Celestial Lord? Boo-hoo, he's too good at writing. I must watch that part blindfolded. Obtaining the Tao also gained a wave of popularity. Even the male lead, Fu Jian's, fans had increased by a lot. However, some fans of the opposing team mocked and ridiculed, saying that Fu Jian's limelight as the male lead had been stolen by the 2 supporting characters, Shi Sui and Xiangyi. They must be feeling very aggrieved. Fu Jian, who happened to see these comments, personally picked a comment and retorted, "Isn't it nice to have a godly teammate carry you when playing games?" Fu Jian's fans agreed. "If you don't like your teammates, are you going to report them instead? Some people are dying of jealousy, it can't be helped. Fortune favors fools. Our crown prince has such a godly teammate. Our silly girl can ride on the coattails of Shi Sui and Sister Yi. What a good thing. You can't ride on their coattails even if you want to. Humph." The opposing fans, "Wait, your family's main character is now a fan. Are you all so shameless and undignified?" His limelight had been stolen, but instead of feeling ashamed, he was proud of it. He was speechless. He had never seen such an artist before. But when he thought about it carefully, if his artist could find a golden thigh like Shi Sui and Xiangyi, F***ck, he was even more furious. Over here. Si Chuanbai and Ah Nan drove over to pick them up, but they couldn't enter the filming location. Xiangyi and Shi Sui had to walk for a while. Coincidentally, Fu Jian and the female lead's official fan club came to support them. Seeing Shi Sui and Xiangyi walking out side by side, dozens of people screamed and rushed over. "Shi Yingdi is so handsome. Oh my god, Sister Yi is so cute. Oh no, I'm going to become her fan." Seeing that the two were about to be surrounded, more than 10 bodyguards suddenly appeared from all directions and surrounded Xiangyi and Shi Sui. They were the bodyguards that the Xiang brothers had prepared for their younger sister. In the crowd, someone shouted in dissatisfaction, "It's bad enough that Shi Sui didn't want to give them an autograph or take photos, but Xiangyi is so uncooperative. What's with her acting like a big shot? Let me tell you, celebrities can't be spoiled. It's precisely because we spoil them that they trample on the hearts of us fans." Chapter 568. The scene suddenly quieted down. Everyone looked at each other and exchanged glances with those who were familiar with them. Through the chaotic crowd, the fan finally caught a glimpse of Xiangyi's figure, only to realize that she didn't even look at her performance. A feeling of embarrassment and anger rose in his heart. What did Xiangyi mean by this? Was she disdainful? "Xiangyi, why are you acting all high and mighty? I know you heard it. Look at the celebrities from the neighboring countries, they'll cooperate with their fans. How can you be so cold and aloof to the people who like you?" This confusing remark made the atmosphere even more awkward. The bodyguards were expressionless as they cleared the way for Xiangyi, as if she was a rich lady shopping. Noble and aloof. When Xiangyi passed by the girl tried to squeeze through the crowd and rushed to the front of Xiangyi, but she tripped and was about to fall when a pair of slender milky hands suddenly grabbed her wrist. Whoosh! The girl fell into a warm embrace and her eyes widened in disbelief. Her wrist was grabbed by the girl in front of her. Up close, her face was bare, but it was exquisite and flawless. There was even a faint scent of orange in her hair. She was slightly shorter than Xiangyi. Due to inertia, her forehead rested on the girl's slender shoulder. The girl's face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. On the other side. Rewind time to 2 minutes ago. Nan was impatient and couldn't stay in the car. He shouted that he wanted to come and fetch Xiangyi. Si Chuanbai couldn't persuade him, so he accompanied the little colorful guy. From afar, Nan saw the fans who were visiting the set and was a little worried. There are so many people, will there be any accidents? The next second, he heard the crazy screams of the crowd. Even though Nan had seen the screams of fangirls before, he couldn't help but tremble. Yingdi's popularity is too strong. They're not his fans and yet they're so agitated. Not long after, the girl who was looking for trouble said something. Nan frowned. "I'll go and take a look." He was afraid that Xiangyi wouldn't be able to handle this kind of thing well, so as to avoid being talked about. In the next second, Nan heard screams that were several times louder than before. They were earth-shattering, 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 earth-shattering screams. Sister E is so cool. Nan? How long has it been? Do you have to betray me so quickly? In the crowd. When the girl steadied herself, Xiangyi immediately let go. "Are you all right?" she asked. The girl stared at her in a daze. She only felt that Xiangyi was good-looking and her voice was soft. She didn't know why, but she smelled good. She blushed. I am fine." Xiangyi nodded slightly. "Be careful. Why didn't you sign for us?" Meeting Xiangyi's calm and gentle eyes, the girl couldn't say anything harsh. Instead, her questioning turned into acting coquettishly. Xiangyi was silent for a few seconds. "I thought you were joking." She tilted her head and asked in confusion, "Would anyone really like me?" Previously, when she was about to transmigrate back, Xiangyi saw how the netizens scolded her. The girl widened her eyes. "Why would you think that? Do you have some serious misunderstanding about your own popularity? Aren't you the most handsome, cutest, and charming female artist in the world? The fans? Miss, there's something wrong with you." Chapter 569. The people around them were shocked. Sister Yi's temper is so good. That girl just said such nasty things, yet she's still so gentle. Someone boldly asked, "Sister E, can I have an autograph?" Sister E, can I take a photo with you?" Sister E, can you record a message for me as a wake-up call?" Xiangyi agreed to all of them good-naturedly and even asked the bodyguard to help her carry the bags. Hence, Ah Nan, who was in the distance, realized that not only did the screams not die down, but they were also getting louder and louder. There were also confessions such as, "Sister E likes you so much," "Sister E, I love you to death," and "Sister E, from today onwards, you're my wife." Ah Nan asked, "Why isn't anyone shouting Shi Sui's name?" Si Chuanbai said calmly, "Maybe he's past his prime." Ah Nan was speechless. "How can you criticize your own artist like that?" While the netizens were still praising Xiangyi's acting skills, a few short videos quietly went viral. The first one was of Xiangyi, who was dressed in a shirt and jeans, grabbing the wrist of a girl who was about to fall and pulling her into her arms. The background music was accompanied by classic idol drama music, and it looked inexplicably pink. The second one was of Xiangyi carrying several large bags casually and effortlessly. Not only did she not waste any effort, but she also cooperated with the person next to her to record the ringtone. She gently said, "Good morning, Your Highness, and today, you're full of energy too." The third one was of Xiangyi taking a photo with someone. Shi Sui acted as the photographer and helped take the photos without complaint. Xiangyi noticed that the zipper of the girl's skirt was half open. Although there was a bra inside, she still immediately blocked the girl's front to prevent her from exposing herself. The netizens were truly confused. Is this really Xiangyi? Two under one roof had made Xiangyi a success, but it also brought about many limitations. Everyone only saw Xiangyi at home, and the people she dealt with were only the occasional guests. But this time, when she came to the set for filming, people saw a different Xiangyi. She was gentle, calm, polite, and educated. She treated everyone with patience and made people feel very comfortable. All of a sudden, the comments under all the videos were full of flattery. "Gentleness is indeed a good attribute. Oh my God, Sister E is too much of a boyfriend. I've replayed the scene of him grabbing her wrist dozens of times and I still think it's so cool. Why are you calling her pretty sister? From now on, it's pretty sister. Call her Sister E. I think Brother E can do it too, ha ha ha." Everyone in the entertainment industry saw some clues from this. Xiangyi's popularity was unstoppable. Many brands, directors, TV stations, and video websites had extended an olive branch to Xiangyi. In the minivan, Ah Nan relished in the flattery of the netizens to Xiangyi. After listening to a few sentences, Xiangyi asked in bewilderment, "Are these really not the fake reviewers you hired for me? Oh my God, what kind of person do you take me for?" Ah Nan pursed his lips. "I wouldn't lie to you about such things." "I see. Oh my God, why are you so calm? You've become famous. Isn't this what you've always dreamed of?" Xiangyi said calmly, "After I lost my memory, it changed." She was on good terms with Ah Nan, but not to the point where she could tell him that she was about to pass through. Hence, amnesia was an all-purpose excuse that could be used as soon as it was used. "What did you change to?" "Men," Xiangyi said with a straight face. "The kind that I've always dreamed of." Chapter 570. Ah Nan and Si Chuanbai fell silent. Only Shi Sui chuckled and said, "Thank you, it's my honor." This thank you. It was very doggy. Ah Nan looked like an old man who was staring at his phone in the subway. Si Chuanbai took out his tablet and informed Shi Sui of her schedule. "There's an SN show on Wednesday and we need to go to Jincheng on Thursday. If there are no objections, that's it." After informing Shi Sui coldly, Si Chuanbai looked at Xiangyi and suddenly changed his tone. "Sister E, after Ah Nan and I considered and discussed it, we've decided to give you 3 commercials. One is National Snail Powder for food, one is hand sanitizer for daily necessities, and the last one is the spokesperson for Hades's brand, WF. Do you think it's okay? If you have any thoughts, feel free to tell me. I'll respect all your opinions." Shi Sui was confused. "What? Who exactly is your longtime colleague and good friend?" Xiangyi flipped through the information prepared by Si Chuanbai. There was no doubt about the ability of the top manager. The 3 brands he picked were perfect in all aspects. I'm fine with anything. Then I'll go talk to the brands, Sichuanbai said gently. Sister E, don't feel any psychological pressure. Adjust your state of mind. Eat well and sleep well so that you don't have to worry. Xiongyi thanked him warmly. When it was Shi Sui's turn, Sichuanbai had nothing to say. The two of them looked at each other for a few seconds before he said seriously, "Drink more hot water." Shi Sui was silent for a few seconds. "You too." "Oh." The conversation ended. Sichuanbai followed them to the manor for a meal before going back to work. Nan stayed behind to accompany Xiongyi during the filming of the commercials. Xing Chen Entertainment. In the parking lot, Qin Wanyan's makeup was exquisite, but she looked very haggard. She had already squandered all her points, and there was no way to exchange them for the beautifying filter card. In addition, she now had no source of income. Even if she desperately tried to maintain her former glamour, it was just an act, and it could never replace reality. She waited bitterly for a long time before Xiang Feng finally came downstairs. The man's shoulders were wide and his legs were long. When he walked, he looked like a domineering CEO. However, as they got closer, Qin Wanyan noticed that he was holding a hamburger in his hand. She looked left and right. Seeing that there was no one around, she took a big bite. Half a hamburger is gone. Qin Wanyan. She tried her best to convince herself that although this man was a little straight and stupid, he had money and resources. She could force herself to not despise him. The little system in her mind said weakly, "Host, I don't recommend you use such a radical method. When dealing with a man like Xiang Feng, it's better to take things slowly. What do you know? Take it slow, it's too late." Qin Wanyan couldn't stand the fact that she had no popularity, no luxury cars, and no luxuries. What was the difference between her and a loser? She was the chosen one. The goddess of fate would definitely take care of her. Thinking of this, Qin Wanyan tore off the bag on the side of her spaghetti strap dress and walked around the back of the car to Xiang Feng. She pretended to sprain her ankle and threw it at him. Her appearance was too sudden. Xiang Feng only had time to take a step back. He was fine, but the remaining hamburger in his hand fell to the ground like Qin Wanyan. Qin Wanyan was in so much pain that she wanted to curse. She looked up at Xiang Feng with teary eyes. The man blurted out a curse. F***CK. Can you still F***king eat that? Chapter 571. Qin Wanyan. She looked at Xiang Feng in disbelief, wondering if she had heard wrong. Qin Wanyan had secretly practiced this throw many times at home in front of the mirror. From the angle, posture, to the opening of the straps, she was very particular about it. Even if she wanted to throw, she had to show the beauty of pure desire. But who would have thought that after such a successful throw, she would run into a weirdo like Xiang Feng? "Mr. Xiang." Qin Wanyan called out to him pitifully. She didn't believe that this man wasn't interested in women at all. "I'm sorry for bumping into you. Are you okay?" She leaned forward slightly, revealing a large patch of snowy skin below her collarbone. If it were a normal man with normal logic, who wouldn't have some inappropriate thoughts after seeing this scene? However, Qin Wanyan had misjudged how straight Xiang Feng was. He thumped his chest and stamped his feet. "My burger is already like this. How can I be okay? I added a double serving of chicken chops. It's gone just like that. I'm so angry." "Qin Wanyan." She choked for a few seconds, then tentatively said, "Then, I'll buy you another one?" Xiang Feng looked at her sympathetically. "No need, you have so little fabric. It's obvious that you don't have the money to buy clothes. Your family must be in a difficult situation." "I still have money to buy a burger." Qin Wanyan saw that he had no intention of helping her, so she had no choice but to get up herself. She picked up the trash on the ground and walked to the trash can next to her. "Mr. Xiang, I'm really sorry, I'll definitely make it up to you." Before she could finish her words, she heard Xiang Feng shout, "Stop. You haven't sorted the trash yet, how can you throw it around like that? Qin Wanyan. She smiled stiffly. It shouldn't be a problem, the cleaner will take care of it. How can that be? You're too uncultured. In order to gain a favorable impression in front of him, Qin Wanyan gritted her teeth and picked up the trash again, bracing herself to sort the trash. Next to her, Xiang Feng was still seriously guiding her on the spot. Burgers are wet trash, or perishable trash. It refers to food waste, leftovers, expired food, melon peels, seeds, flowers, herbs, and other biological waste. Food packaging is recyclable. It refers to waste paper, plastic, glass, metal, fabric, and other recyclable household wastes. Qin Wanyan. She couldn't even smile. She barely managed to maintain her expression. Thank you, Mr. Xiang. You're amazing. You've taught me so much. I have to thank you even more. No need. Xiang Feng's eyes were filled with disdain. You don't even know that? TSK. Even though he hadn't said anything harsh, that tisk contained too much meaning. Qin Wanyan was furious to the extreme. She was not going to serve this man anymore. If she didn't conquer him, she didn't believe that she couldn't complete the mission. Just as he was about to leave, the little system's voice sounded in his mind. Host, this is a time-limited mission. If you fail, you will be punished. What punishment? Qin Wanyan asked impatiently. Why didn't you say so earlier? I did remind you, but you didn't listen carefully. The little system's voice was still delicate and weak, but the words it said were incomparably cruel. If the mission fails, the host will be obliterated. Qin Wanyan suddenly felt a chill run down her spine. What do you mean by obliterated? She suddenly remembered that the fast transmigrator in Ling Ye's body seemed to have been obliterated as well. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.